Hey, what's up to my faith-based marriage family? Look, today's episode, we're going to give you the most important, all of them are important, but I'm going to say the most important facet to manifesting the life and experiences you want to manifest in your marriage. If you don't get this particular aspect down, if you don't get this right, you're going to struggle. It's going to be hard. And then you're going to start believing marriage was meant to be hard. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to another episode of our Faith-Based Marriage Secrets podcast. I'm Caitlin.
I'm Aramis.
And I'm Coach D.
And we are continuing our mysteries to making marriage easy.
Mysteries, revealing the mysteries to making marriage easy.
Which
I had this thought. Which one? What did you say?
I don't know if people even believe.
No, yeah, I was going to say.
Can't believe it.
Yeah, people, that's hard to believe nowadays. I think you said something in the last podcast that spoke to the very essence of why that's easy. Because
To believe the lie, you mean?
To believe the lie, yeah. Because that is hard. Because that's what most people hear, see. Like if there was if the enemy had one shot, he had one thing to attack. If he got one shot to attack man's overall degradation and destruction, it would be marriage.
Yeah.
It would be marriage. It would have to be. Because that's God's foundational structure for establishing the kingdom of God in the earth.
Right. Marriage is essentially the seed of the kingdom.
For life.
Yeah.
No, for life.
Right.
For life, for the kingdom of God, and for life in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
Like, it's it, right? What a husband and a wife is supposed to create, produce, and manifest together from the culture, which includes everything from what you eat, what you hear, what you see, what you do, what you think, right? To what you manifest, like the culture, to the experiences within a family unit.
Yep.
There's nothing else that even compares to it.
Right.
So there's one thing he'd have to attack. If he could, it would be the concept of marriage.
Yep.
And what he's done is is extremely crafty of him, subtle of him. He didn't eliminate it in the sense of removing the idea of marriage from man's mind. He modified it.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean when you say modified?
Well, he changed the perspective of how people see marriage.
Yes. Okay. That's immediately where my mind went to is he created. Well, I can't say he created. He can't create.
Right.
But he made it so that people, for the most part, mostly see marriage breaking down, marriage not working,
exactly.
marriage having issues, marriage being hard.
Right.
The information that is.
Guess who he used to do that? Man.
Right.
He used man to do it.
Right. Adam got caught up in.
Right. Adam. We say Adam. He used man to initiate it, but he uses people today. I got this issue that I got an issue with. That I want to bring out about.
Okay.
There's what's my boy Tyler Perry? Yeah, Tyler Perry. He just produced a movie about divorce, about bad marriage, and the two stars are popular people who just divorced. Like, why would you do that?
Wow.
What's the people name? I know you know.
Is that the one with Megan Good?
Yeah,
and
Megan. And let's be like, wow, both of them just divorced. I'm like, what? Like, why not make a movie about people being happily married? That don't sell.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't gonna sell. What's gonna sell is two people who the whole community that he marketing to just went through a divorce. Let's bring these two people together and put together a movie about divorce, about bad marriage.
But you know
that's
where,
what we see.
You know where that came from, though. It's a very primitive. I thought this was interesting when I heard it. It's a very primitive cultural thing from like back in, like before the medieval times. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking about like Neanderthal times when they used to just sit around a fire and tell stories, right? It's one of those things where it's a survival mechanism to always hear about the bad, because it causes you to kind of be aware of the things that could hurt you, right? And as time kind of progressed and went on, and we're now, safer and out of more danger, we haven't forgotten that instinctual thing to always tell negative stories. It just became something that we're used to hearing.
Well, and I think you mentioned it earlier, it goes back to the origin or the fall of things.
Yeah.
Right? Now, death is supreme.
Exactly.
Instead of life. That's why the scripture said, most folks quote it wrong in the Proverbs. They say life and death is in the power of the tongue. But it really says death and life is in the power of the tongue. And I remember when I said, why you say death first? Because that's the propensity now. The propensity is for death to be the dominant entity.
Yeah.
Right? But Jesus came to reverse that, right? So we as believers, we have something that the average being doesn't have.
Right.
We have that capability that we once had if we do what we're going to talk about today, if we abide in the new place that God has given us. And I made this one of the of our top 10 of how to make marriage easy. We talked about having a desire to please God and be the husband and the wife God wants you to be, having the identity of a lover, embracing that, and the 4 facets of immersion, discovery, declaration, execution. And now, number 3, we're going to talk about immersion experience. And where we get this concept from the Bible is the idea of baptism. Like baptism been a part of God's culture from the beginning. Adam and Eve, Mr. and Mrs. Adam, I should say, was baptized into the goodness of God, into the pleasures of God. They were baptized into it. All they had to do was abide. Well, they didn't abide, and one thing led to another, but then Jesus came back to restore that. And then we get to John 15, where Jesus reminded folks, he says, except you abide in me and I abide in you, and my words abide in you, you can't manifest the fruit that I want you to manifest. You can't manifest it. I'm going to say something now that's going to challenge some folk. Because we've replaced the idea of abiding with applying. We've talked about that a little bit. Yeah. You don't apply the word, you abide the word. Right? When you abide in the word, it brings forth fruit. We call it the ability to deliver fruit on demand.
The word abide. Can you talk a little bit more about the essence of that word, like the etymology of that word? Because when I hear that word, like I think like rest. You know what I mean? Like
That's great.
Hey, what's up? Coach D here. Listen, I got something I need to say to you real quick. Listen, marriage is made for lovers. Now, once you understand that marriage is made for lovers and you're not listening to them folks that keep saying you need more than love to make marriage work, you have to identify as a lover. Once you identify as a lover, now you got to learn what love is. Guess what? We have something for you that can help you understand exactly what love is in its most comprehensive nature. It's so much more than just an emotion. But you got to get the book to find out exactly what God's intent was for love and how it functions. Thanks. Get the book. God bless.
That's a great description of what abiding is. It's resting. We talk about this all the time. Listen, how hard? How hard is that grass outside this door working to stay in the ground?
That's chilling.
It's at rest.
Right.
It's at rest.
Yeah.
It's at rest. It ain't working. It's abiding. It's at rest. How hard does the apple tree work to produce apples?
Yeah, I love that story you were talking about last week.
Oh, it was beautiful. It's beautiful.
Man,
Yeah,
where the fruit just
becomes
so full, it just comes.
It's so full of life. That's the idea. It's so full of life.
Yeah.
Because what's the life of the fruit? Say the juice. The juice. That's the life of the fruit. It's the juice. That's the life.
That's the nutrients.
It's the nutrients is in the juice.
Yeah.
It's it's so full of life. We can say that about the fruit. It's so full of life.
Yeah.
When you bite into what's your favorite fruit?
Plum.
Plum. When you bite into a sweet, juicy plum, and it start running all down the juice all on the side of your mouth. That's full of life. You probably start dancing. It's full of life.
Every time.
It's full of life. Right? Favorite fruit.
Orange.
Orange. When you bite into an orange, when you peel that bad boy, and it start running all down your forearm. It's juicy.
Yes.
That's life.
Yeah.
It's full of life.
That's it.
Like when we abide in the word, and the word abide, we extract the life of the Spirit of God. We are becoming full with life. And when life squeezes upon us, what is it gonna get? When you squeeze that orange, what you get?
Man, you get some juice.
You get orange. When you squeeze that plum, what you get?
Juice.
Say plum juice.
Plum
Let's
juice.
be you get plum juice.
Okay, right,
You get
right,
orange juice.
right.
You don't squeeze the orange, you get plum juice. You get orange juice.
Right.
That's what you get. When you squeeze a heroic husband, what you gonna get?
Heroism.
Heroic juice. Heroic husband juice. That's what you go. Like, abiding is the concept Jesus revealed to us that enables us to manifest the life God wants us to manifest.
Yeah.
It ain't applying. It's not applying. And I hate to be the one that always sounds contrary to what, but that's not it.
Yeah.
For the life of me, and I could be wrong. I can't think of any place where the Bible talks about applying the word. It talks about being a doer, and it talks about abiding.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of anywhere where it says apply the word. But that's what we say we're to do. That's outside in.
Yeah.
Abiding is inside out. Except my word abide in you, and you in me. Listen, you can try as hard as you want to. You can't do nothing. That's what it say. You can't do it. You ain't gonna be able to do it. You might be able to do it for a day or two. You may maybe do it for a week or two. But that thing get heavy. That load get heavy. That load get heavy.
Yeah.
That load get. Listen. Junie can stick his arm straight out, Junie. Stick your arm straight out. He can hold that arm out there for probably about a minute, 2-3 minutes. After a while, the force of gravity gets heavy. That thing get hard. The muscles can't withstand it. Right? We get to a place to where if we're not abiding, and we have this we bought into this idea of applying the word of God, it get heavy. It get hard. It get frustrating. It ain't happening no more. Something got to be different. Right? But when we're abiding, and we got to fight to abide.
Right.
Right? We got to fight to abide. I remember I got this revelation. I was watching this movie where they were reenacting this tsunami that took place in, I think it was Indonesia, I want to say, or Asia, somewhere in Asia. They reenacted it, and they showed this tree almost bent over, like completely bent over, but it wasn't coming out that ground. And the thought flashed, like, man, that thing fighting to stay in the ground. What was he? He was fighting to abide.
Yeah.
Like, we got to fight to abide.
I like that picture too, because it's not how can I say it? Like, people have this expectation that when you're operating the right way, you're supposed to be this tree through the tsunami that stands straight up, right? When the reality is what you just showed, where the tree is still rooted. It might bend a little bit, but because the foundation is right, the roots are deep enough, right? That tree is going to come right back up to where it's supposed to be. It's going to realign regardless of what happens around it. And I think that is such a, I just think it gets missed.
It epitomizes, right? It epitomizes what we have to go through to get to that place to where marriage becomes easy.
Yeah.
We might have to bend a little bit before we can become upright and be able to stay upright in the midst of whatever storm.
Or just from the standpoint of, like, things will come at you. right? And you may not have the perfect reaction in all those circumstances. You might bend a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But if the foundation is right, if you are rooted
Right.
the way you're supposed to be rooted,
Right.
as soon as that tsunami
go
passes,
straight back
you
up.
right
Let's
back
go
into
straight back
action.
up.
You know
Right.
what I mean? Like
Right.
that's important.
Right. Very important. Very important to see that. I had a thought as you were saying that though. When you abide in love. So we just used an analogy of a plum and an orange, and we talked about they're full of life, and the life of that orange is the juice.
Yeah.
Well, what's the life of abiding in love? What's the juice of love? Right? The Bible told us. The Bible told us. Patience, meekness, temperance, forgiveness, long suffering, joy, kindness, meek. That's the life of love.
Yeah.
That's the life of love. When you abide in love, and marriage demands those things of you, just like the orange. Like you ain't gotta like force the juice to come out the orange. Once you start, well, I guess you are forcing when you squeeze it, but it's coming out.
Yeah.
What's inside that orange coming out? Right. It's gonna come out. When you abiding in love, what's inside of love gonna come out. Like marriage places a demand on you to love at a high level.
You ever seen those spigots, those taps that you can push right into like a watermelon or something like that? You turn the thing and juices. Like that's what we need to operate like. You know what I mean? Like that's the
marriage.
core.
That's marriage.
Right. Like that spigot
marriage.
is marriage. And it basically unlocks those juices and lets them flow without you having to squeeze. Right. Most fruits you can push that spigot right into and turn that knob and juice is gonna come out of that thing.
Right.
It might be a lot, it might be a little bit, but juice is gonna flow.
Marriage is the spigot to release the life of love.
That's it.
I like that. Marriage is the spigot to release the life of love. That's what it is. But if you ain't abiding and you trying to apply love to your marriage,
you're going to be squeezing and twisting.
You got to work hard.
Yeah.
You got to work hard.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because so the idea is you got to fight. You got to fight. Because everything about the divorce culture, everything about the world as we call it, secular society, everything about it is to get you not to abide.
Yep.
Everything about it is to distract you, move you away from your focus, get you focused on something else, get you looking at something else, get you seeing something else, get you hearing something else, get you doing something else other than abiding.
Right.
Everything about it is to get you out of that original space that you were meant to be in. But we got to fight. We got to fight the urge or the attraction or the allure of what the world is offering us.
Yeah.
We got that's what it's about. It's about movies designed to have a girls trip or a man cave where off limits for the spouse. All that kind of stuff. All that stuff that's to distract you.
Yep.
That's to get you out of focus.
Yep.
Right?
To get you disconnected.
To disconnect you. So we got to fight to abide in love. We got to fight. We got to fight to abide in the love and deal with the culture or the communities that say to love is a weakness. To allow the stirring of love in my emotion to be seen as a softness or feminine.
Yeah.
We got to fight to abide.
But you know what fighting sounds like, the way that you express the action of it. It sounds like having discipline. It's and
right. The discipline to do what? 3 things. The discipline to do 3 things. Hear consistently. Think. I say forensically, and speak boldly. Right? It's the discipline to do those things.
Right. But people will hear the word discipline and they'll think, well, usually with discipline, you do that with hard stuff. No, 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 no. Discipline is built into the culture.
It's built into it. It's built into it.
It's built into the process of being.
Right. It's built into it.
So if the discipline is built into the culture, and the culture is designed to be easy, two things that are equal to the same thing are equal to each other.
100%.
Discipline should be easy
It should be
in the culture.
in the culture. When you out of the culture, though,
It's hard.
See, that's another thing. It's so important. When we talk about abiding and fighting to abide, the new creature in love is the two things we want to fight to abide in. Is the revelation of the new creature, and what does it look like to fight to stay in the revelation of the new creature? Is refusing to accept or not open yourself up to hearing things like, you just a poor old sinner saved by grace. Or hearing you ain't gonna never be perfect, so don't even try. Or hearing stuff like, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I don't have this, I don't have that. Like, you gotta fight. You gotta fight. As the Lord began to reveal to me my new identity as a lover, when he told 30 years ago, when he told me to marry Sister Leslie, or 29 years ago, when he told me to marry Sister Leslie, I didn't watch TV for a long time. All I did was read my Bible. Like, I don't know if I remember Sister Leslie telling you about that. Like, I got saved in 95. I probably didn't start watching TV again until like 2005. Like I went along TV, like, music. I'd be like, woohoo! You be like, you ain't never heard that?
Yeah.
During that time, I wasn't listening to nothing.
Right.
But once I started engaging into ministry and life again and life outside of the word, I felt myself having to say, I don't want to hear that. No, I ain't trying to hear that. Like, right up to today, like just yesterday, I heard a guy say this. I said, no, I don't want to hear that. I heard a guy say this. This is what he said. He said, they were talking about faith, right? And that's an important subject matter because we believe in faith-based marriage. Like, there's only one way to be married, that's by faith. And he said, well, we can put our faith in anything we want to. What? No, I don't want to hear that because that ain't right.
Cut that right off.
He don't know what faith is. We can put our faith in anything. No, you can't. Not the God kind of faith.
Right.
That false faith, you can put it in anything. That's just mental assent. But the God kind of faith, you can't just put your faith in anything. It's too specific. It's too definite. But for me, I ain't hearing that. I cut him off. Like, I got a very short leash on stuff like that. I cut him off. I may go back and listen to him talk about another subject, but about faith, I haven't heard enough. He don't know. He don't know. And a little leaven it the whole lump. That thought will prevail throughout his entire understanding of what faith is.
Right.
So I won't listen to him about it. That's how I am. I'm fighting to abide in the revelation of what faith is that God told me. I fight to abide in the love that God has put in my heart. I fight to abide in the space of husbandry that I have the revelation of. I don't listen to other stuff. I don't think contrary to it. I don't speak contrary to it.
But the second someone who is amongst the world, I'll just say, they're living their life and they got a couple friends with them and they hear that and they go and try to cut that off. All of a sudden, the perception is, oh, you being judgmental, you being this, you being that. Like, there's almost a negative connotation to being very selective about what we let in the ear. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's part of the stress or anxiety that plays into people's minds that causes them to like second guess whether or not they should cut it off fast enough or not. You know what I'm saying?
You want the worry to come out?
Yeah.
You want the worry to come out? Try to get me to hear stuff that's going to be contrary to who God told me I am. You being judgmental? You right, I am.
Yeah.
The Bible tells me to judge all things. He said, he that is spiritual judgeth all things. See, judgment wasn't for the unspiritual. Judgment is for the spiritual. Now, there's judging, which the Bible speaks to. If the intent of your heart, let me just say it like that. You go get me, you bring me a glass of water. And I say, the only reason you brought me that glass of water is because you want some money from me. That's judging in the sense of I'm judging the intent of your heart. But now the Bible tells us to inspect fruit. He that is spiritual judges all. I'm not judging you in the sense of of trying to determine what the intent of your heart was. I'm looking at your actions. I'm looking at I'm listening to what you said, looking at what you do, and I'm judging your actions based on that.
Right.
Now the intent of what you I'm only God knows your heart.
Yeah, it's like one is casting judgment upon somebody, right, and the other is assessing.
Right. That's a great way to say it. And that's where when you assess, you got to assess from the position of love.
Yeah.
You got to assess from that position. What most husbands and wives mess up is they assess from the position of I can't say judgment, but they assess from the position of, and I don't want to say hate, but it ain't love. Let me say it like that.
Yeah.
It don't have to be hate, but it's not love. They assess. But it's okay. The one thing that and Sister Leslie and I established this a long time ago, right? You never have to question my love for you. You never have to question my love for you, right? And she said, you never have to question my love for you. Okay, so now that I'm going to assess everything through that veil of love. And when you do that, it shifts things a little bit, right? But when you have a culture of marriage that's not rooted and grounded or abiding in love, now everything is assessed from a different perspective. But when the culture's right, it's different, right? We're gonna talk about one of the mysteries we're gonna review. We're gonna talk about is how to transform your current culture of marriage, right? How to transform it, right? The culture for most folks just not right. Well, how much time we got?
3.
Oh, we have 3 minutes. Okay. But yeah, so what we're gonna talk about is abiding, fighting to abide in the new creature and fighting in love, and the idea of abiding is to be rooted in a thing, to be planted in it, and to hear and think and speak. That's the practical way we abide, by what we hear, what we think, what we speak. Like that's how we abide. Me meditating in the word is me abiding in the word. Me hearing you teach on the word is me abiding in the word. Me reading the word is me abiding in the word. Like me speaking the word is me abiding in the word. Like those are the 3 primary facets of abiding. It's what you hear, what you think, what you speak. Like it's always on my mind. It's got to be always on your mind. It's always filtered through. Like that's we live from that space. When you do that, now you begin to enter into an abundance that comes with abiding. We used the fruit analogy earlier. That abundance, the Bible talks about this idea of a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. It talks about our need being supplied. Man, I got this revelation. We're talking about how God supplies our need, right? And I shared it I shared a little bit of it on Wednesday. That this is how God, when you think about God supplying your need, the thought was this: if God supplies our need, do I ever really have a need?
No.
How can I if He supplies it?
Right.
Right? And the example that came to me was, what's the one thing man needs to live on this earth? Well, several things, but what's the first thing comes to mind? He needs to live.
Air.
Air. God supplied air.
Yeah.
Do we ever have to worry about oxygen?
Not at all.
Not at all. Water. Do we ever have to worry about water?
Majority of the planet is covered in it.
It's water.
Yeah.
Right? So when God's about supplying your need, that's how He supplies it. That's how He supplies it. Right? So when we talk about when you abide, you tap into the supply. Folks want to tap into the supply without abiding. Don't work like that. That's not how it works. Right? And then more than enough. This is the spirit of how we're supposed to live as husbands and wives. When we abide in love, we'll enter into this abundance of love that will give me a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. that'll bring me to this place to where the supply of love is endless. And then there's a more than enough nature to how I love you. That comes from abiding, which then gives me the ability to effortlessly execute when marriage demands of me the life of love.
That's good.
And that's the mystery of making marriage easy, is immersion. The concept of immersion. Or we might say most folks might be more familiar with the term baptism, which means to immerse oneself. Well, what are you immersing yourself in? The only idea we have when it comes to immersion is in the water, behind the stage.
So basically, folk need another dip.
Folk need another dip. So, but when you have this idea that abiding and immersion is for everything God has given us, you immerse yourself in the new creature. You immerse yourself in love. You do that, marriage will be easy. And we done.
All right, sounds good. We got to get to number 3 next week. Did we get to it?
Well, that was number 3. We get to number 4. Number 4 is how to transform your current culture, your current marriage culture. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Like most folks that's they got the wrong culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that too.
That's what a lot of couples need to do.
Yeah, I was thinking about that culture. What made me think about that? I can't remember. It made me think about it. I know what it was. We were talking about giving on Sunday and how we have we've perfected the art of teaching our people to tithe, but we haven't done as good job of teaching them the culture that the tithe was designed to operate in. The tithe was designed to operate in an entrepreneurial culture, not a job culture.
Yeah.
I can teach you how to tithe all you want and talk about the blessings and benefits of the tithe. But if you're trying to manifest the fruit of tithing under a job structure, won't work.
Nope.
Won't work. Right? And so culture, same thing. If you're trying to make marriage easy, but you're operating under the divorce culture, won't work. It won't work. The marriage was designed to abide or to grow or to be planted in a specific culture. And that's the culture of love. And we're going to talk about how to change that.
Yeah, that's good. So make sure you tune in next week to catch all of that. And thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you then.